Well, this took a while, but we finally got our first Pendulum Ritual monster. We are going back to Arc 5 for the next core booster set, this time with Odd-Eyes Magicians. So let's begin! First off, we start off with Performable Gentrude, which is a level 4 Dark Fiend Pendulum Monster with 1500 attack and 1000 defense, Pendulum Scale of 8, with the Pendulum effect of if you control no monsters, or monsters you control are only Pendulum, while you have a Performable Lady Angie in your other Pendulum zone, you can add one Odd-Eyes card from your deck to your hand. And this effect is a hard once per turn. Not bad, not bad. It's just another one of those consistency search card. It just requires you to have a very specific card, but nonetheless not too bad. But anyway, the monster effect. If this card is destroyed, you can place one Performable Pendulum Monster from your deck to your Pendulum zone except itself. This is fine to do some resetting scales, so why not? But anyway, its second effect is that if this card is face up in your extra deck, you can discard one Pendulum Monster to add this card back to your hand. Then return one Performable or Odd-Eyes card from your Pendulum zone to your hand. This card is a hard once per turn and only activate one of its effects once per turn. Keep in mind, Master Rule 4 Revision requires you to summon Pendulum Monsters from the extra deck to the extra monster zone first, so it basically restricts it to one or to where Link Monster points to. So being able to bring them back to your hand really helps out a lot to extend your plays. Overall, this is not too bad of a card. It enables setup, and in some cases lets you reset your board, so overall, not bad. And then to his partner in crime, Performable Lady Angie, level 3 Light Fairy Pendulum Monster with 1000 attack, 1500 defense, Pendulum Scale 1, with the Pendulum effect where, once per turn, when an attack is declared involving both players' monsters, you can discard one Pendulum Monster, then your opponent's battling monster loses 1000 attack until the end of the turn. Well, this effect is just mainly to run over stuff. You mainly just pair it with the other card, really. But other than that, you don't really use this Pendulum effect. But its monster effect is that you can discard this card and one other Performable monster, except itself, to draw 2 cards. These trade-in effects are really good, and I like it for that. So just this effect alone makes it worth running. But it also has a second effect where, if this card's in your graveyard and you control an Odd-Eyes card, or a Performable Gentrude, you can put this card to your Pendulum zone. This card is a hard once per turn, and you can only activate one of these effects once per turn. So basically a trade-in, and it pairs out with another card that is a consistency search, so it is worth running both of them, but not sure if you will have room to run both of them, because one can't really go out with the other, although you could use this mainly for the trade-in effect. And now to the new Odd-Eyes Ritual monster, we got Odd-Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon, which is a level 7 Light Dragon Ritual Pendulum Monster, 2700 attack, 2500 defense, Pendulum Scale 4, and its Pendulum effect is that during the end phase you can add one ritual spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand, then return this card to your hand. And this effect is a hard once per turn. That's just basically consistency search for your ritual card. And the fact that it also bounces itself back to your hand and Pendulum summon your Odd-Eyes is not even hard, I'm pretty sure it's easy to summon. Especially with the monster effect where it must be either Pendulum summon from hand or ritual summon, and you can ritual summon this card by using Odd-Eyes Advent. Okay, not too much of a restriction, but to the main effect, each time your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck, inflict 300 points of damage. Really like these type of effects. The more monsters they summon, the more you hurt them. And then another effect, once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or effect, quick effect, you can place this card to your Pendulum zone. If you do, negate that effect. Then, if it was a ritual summon card placed in the Pendulum zone, you can special summon one Odd-Eyes monster from your extra deck. Keep in mind, it didn't say face up, meaning that you could summon those face down Odd-Eyes monsters you haven't even summoned yet. Overall, I would say this is an okay new boss monster. Yes, I do like the fact it can negate a spell and can burn your opponent each time they summon something from the extra deck. But what I really like is the bonus special summon an Odd-Eyes monster from the extra deck, because cheating out your boss monsters is always my favorite shit. And now to our only spell, Extra Pendulum. It's a normal spell, and its effect is during your main phase of this turn, you can conduct one additional Pendulum summon from your extra deck. Very nice to extend more plays, especially with Master Rule 4 Revision, you can only technically summon only one Pendulum monster per turn from your extra deck, so extending plays is nice. Not sure if you will have the room to run this, especially if you run more cards that can recycle your extra deck Pendulum monsters back to your hand, because I say that is much better than using this, but it's up to you if you want to play it. finally, a trap. It's literally called Pendulum Scale. It's a normal trap, and you can only activate one of these per turn. Its effect is that if you have 2 cards in your pendulum zone, apply one of these effects based on the between difference of the pendulum scales. 0, you destroy 2 spells and traps on the field. 1 to 3, you add 1 level 2 to 4 pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. 4 to 6, it'll be 5 to 7 pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. 7 or more, return 2 cards from your pendulum zone back to your hand, then special summon 1 pendulum monster from your hand. This is overall pretty nice. It lets you consistently search, even do some destruction, and even helps reset your pendulum scales. My only gripe with this card is that it's a trap. And because it's a trap, it's pretty slow. So I'm not too sure about running this, but run it in your leisure. So that's it for the new Odd-Eyes cards, which is also the cover card for Dimension Force. Hopefully we get a new Starve Venom soon, because Starve Venom is the only one without another form yet. And still kind of sad that I don't get to see a new Odd-Eyes equivalent to the Arc Rebellion and Crystal Clearwing. But in that, see you all next time.